You really think every part of Earth was meant for civilization? Then explain Australia, a country larger than most people can imagine, modern, wealthy, fully developed, yet almost empty once you leave the coastline. Why do entire towns disappear into the desert? Why do people in some regions live underground just to survive the heat? Why are there roads where drivers vanish without leaving a trace? And why does 70% of the continent remain nearly untouched by human settlement? Tonight, we enter the Australian Outback, a place where nature does not cooperate with civilization. It fights it. And the deeper you move toward the center of the continent, the more it begins to feel like Australia was never designed for humans at all. From space, Australia looks normal. Bright cities around the coast, airports, highways, millions of people living ordinary lives. But the map hides something strange. Almost all Australians live near the edges of the continent. Everything in the middle is nearly empty. Not because nobody tried living there, because many did, and most failed. The journey begins on Stewart Highway, a road stretching more than 3,000 kilometers through the center of Australia. At first, the drive feels ordinary. Gas stations, farmland, green fields. Then, slowly, the color disappears. The trees thin out. The grass vanishes. And eventually, there is only red earth, heat waves, and silence. An endless, flat world that feels less like Earth and more like another planet. You can drive for hours without seeing another vehicle. No buildings, no people, no movement, only road. Truck drivers who cross the Outback for years often describe the same strange feeling. After enough time out there, distance stops making sense. Roads look identical. The horizon never changes. The heat bends the air itself. Some drivers begin hearing sounds that are not there. Others swear they see movement in completely empty desert. Because the Outback is not simply isolated, it is psychologically hostile. And then there are the camels. Thousands of them. Wild herds crossing the Australian interior like ghosts from another continent. Most people outside Australia do not realize the country now contains one of the largest wild camel populations on Earth. They were brought in during the 19th century to help explorers travel through the desert. Then, humans abandoned them. The continent accepted the camels more easily than it accepted people. Today, they survive in regions where humans struggle to stay alive. They destroy fences, drain water supplies, and disappear back into the emptiness. But the deeper you travel into the Outback, the stranger the landscape becomes. Because scattered across the desert are the remains of towns that failed. Ghost towns. Places where people once believed civilization would survive. One of them was Farina. In the late 19th century, Farina looked promising. There were rail stations, hotels, workshops, families. People believed it would become a major inland city. Then the rain stopped coming. Year after year, the drought became worse. The wells dried out. The soil cracked under the heat. Farming collapsed. And slowly, the town began to die. Not through war, not through violence, just exhaustion. Families left one at a time. Furniture remained inside houses. Tools stayed where they were last used. People simply locked their doors and walked away. Today, only ruins remain. Broken walls, rusting metal, empty silence. Farina was not destroyed suddenly. The desert removed it slowly. And it was not the only place. Across the Outback, abandoned settlements sit beside highways like warnings, proof that surviving here costs more than most people can endure. Further north, another strange sight appears beside the road. Old wooden poles stretching endlessly toward the horizon. The wires are gone now, but these are the remains of the Overland Telegraph Line. More than 3,000 kilometers of communication cable built through untouched wilderness in the 1800s. Workers died from heat building it. Animals collapsed from dehydration. Supplies constantly failed. And still, they finished the line. Today, only leaning poles remain in the desert, like bones from a forgotten civilization. And somewhere around here, the disappearances begin. Australia records thousands of missing person cases every year. Most are solved, but a disturbing number remain open for decades, especially in remote regions. Cars are found abandoned beside roads, campsites remain untouched, food and water still inside, but the people themselves are gone. No footprints, no struggle, no explanation. One of the most famous cases happened in the tiny settlement of Larrimah, population 12 people. Not 12,000, 12. One evening, a man left a local bar and rode his bicycle home. The distance was only a few hundred meters. He never arrived. Police searched the area extensively. Nothing was found. No body, no bike, no dog that had been traveling with him. It was as if the desert erased him completely. And the Outback has a terrifying advantage. It destroys evidence quickly. Heat destroys bodies, wind erases tracks, animals scatter remains. In some regions, a person can disappear into the landscape almost completely within days. And that creates another fear. Because when somebody vanishes out here, the land keeps the answer. Then there is Coober Pedy, one of the strangest towns on Earth. Summer temperatures here can exceed 50 degrees Celsius. Not in the desert, inside the town itself, on the surface. So residents adapted in a way that feels almost post-apocalyptic. They moved underground. Homes carved directly into rock. Underground churches, underground hotels, underground bars, entire lives hidden beneath the earth. Below ground, temperatures remain cool and stable all year. Above ground, the landscape looks dead. Dust, stone, mine shafts, blinding sunlight. Coober Pedy is also one of the largest opal mining regions in the world. Thousands of abandoned mine shafts surround the town. Many are completely unmarked. Locals warn tourists not to wander too far at night. One wrong step can send someone falling deep into forgotten tunnels beneath the desert. And then there are the Min Min lights, floating glowing orbs reported across remote Australia for more than a century. Witnesses describe silent lights following vehicles through the darkness. Sometimes they remain far away. Sometimes they move closer, watching, tracking. Scientists believe the phenomenon may be caused by unusual atmospheric refraction, cold and hot air layers bending distant light sources into moving illusions. And scientifically, that explanation is possible. But locals ask one uncomfortable question. If there are no towns, no cars, no lights for hundreds of kilometers, then what exactly is being reflected? Stories about the Min Min lights became so common that truck drivers developed their own rule. If strange lights appear beside the road at night, do not stop. Do not follow them. Keep driving. Among the many stories connected to the lights, one became legendary. Years ago, several young travelers disappeared while driving through remote desert roads. When their vehicle was eventually found, everything remained inside. Food, water, fuel. The car still worked perfectly, but the people themselves were gone. Locals later claimed strange lights had been seen above that road the same night. No connection was ever proven, but no explanation fully erased the story either. Yet, Australia's danger is not supernatural. Most of it is geological reality. The continent itself is ancient. So ancient that much of its soil has lost the nutrients needed to support large-scale life. Unlike younger continents, Australia has almost no volcanic renewal, no young mountains constantly rebuilding the land. For millions of years, erosion slowly removed nutrients from the soil. What remained was beautiful, but nearly dead. Even underground water became a problem. Beneath Australia lies one of the largest underground water systems on Earth. At first, settlers believed they had found salvation. Then they discovered the truth. The water beneath Australia was ancient, trapped underground for millions of years, and when it finally reached the surface, it came out boiling hot. Some wells reached almost 100 degrees Celsius. Steam rose into the desert air, and settlers realized something fast. This was not normal groundwater. It was loaded with salt, heavy minerals, harsh compounds from deep inside the earth. Fields watered with it slowly turned white. Crops died. The soil hardened, and entire farming regions became impossible to keep alive. Out here, survival became unbelievably expensive. One broken pump, one failed generator, one missing fuel delivery, and an entire community could lose water and power at the same time. That isolation became so extreme, Australia had to create flying doctor services, because in some places, doctors could not drive to patients. The distances were too large, so they flew across the desert instead. Some people lived hundreds of kilometers from the nearest hospital, and during an emergency, a small aircraft could be the only connection to survival. But Australia's greatest enemy was never just mystery. It was the climate itself. Most of the moisture never reaches the center of the continent. Mountain ranges trap the rain near the coast. By the time the air reaches the outback, it is almost empty, dry, hot, lifeless. Many rivers do not even reach the ocean. They fade into the desert. And Australia's largest lake is often not a lake at all, just a giant field of salt. Then comes El Niño. For years, the rain can simply stop. Pastures burn away, rivers vanish, farms collapse under the heat. A farmer can lose everything in one climate cycle. Years of work, gone. And then suddenly, the opposite happens. The same land that suffered drought can flood within days. Roads disappear underwater, settlements are cut off. And when the floodwater finally leaves, the desert returns, as if the land refuses to stay alive for long. And in the middle of this hostile place stands one of the strangest fences on Earth, the Dingo Fence. More than 5,000 kilometers long, built for one reason: to stop wild dingoes from moving south. Farmers had learned something terrifying. Dingoes do not always hunt alone. They move in packs, quietly, at night. Some attacks were so disturbing that entire groups of sheep were found dead, without even being eaten. That fear became so strong, Australia built a barrier across the continent. Even today, patrol teams still drive beside that fence, checking damage, repairing wire, watching the desert. Because the wilderness keeps trying to break through. And slowly, people began to understand something. Maybe the outback was never meant to be conquered. Again and again, humans tried building lives here. Farms, towns, roads, mining camps. Entire communities in the middle of nowhere. Some survived for years. Others disappeared within a single generation. And across the outback, the signs are still there. Rusting machines, broken fences, empty roads, abandoned buildings. Small reminders of human ambition that did not last. Maybe that is why the outback feels different from other deserts. It does not feel empty. It feels like something pushed people away, and somehow, people still keep coming back. Some come for opals, some come for freedom, some come for isolation, some come because they want a new beginning, and for a while, the land allows them to stay. Then something happens. A drought, a flood, a breakdown, a disappearance. And suddenly, the person becomes smaller than the place around them. Maybe that is the real secret of Australia's empty center. It is not that nothing exists there. It is that nature still controls the rules. 70% of Australia remains almost empty for a reason, because out here, everything happens on the land's terms, not ours. And maybe that is why the Outback still fascinates people across the world, because despite satellites, highways, and modern technology, Australia still contains places that feel completely untamed. Places where a road can end without warning, where signals disappear, where nobody hears you call for help. And maybe somewhere tonight, another traveler is driving deeper into the Outback for the first time, thinking they understand the map, not realizing the map was never the real danger. The real danger was always the land itself. So tell me, would you spend even one night out there alone? And if this journey changed the way you see Australia, stay close, because the next mystery may be even more dangerous.